and welcome to week 2 of the NFL Spectacular, I guess. As the NFL is spectacular at any time of the year. And this, of course, is Cole Martens 88, or 57 if you're on Twitter.
Yeah, that's a little different. Yeah,
He's trying to change it to 88.
I gotta change it back.
Because 88 just sounds better.
It does.
So, last week was okay. Better than most,
right, yeah.
but I mean, in our fantasy or our pick-em here, of course, week 1 of and
Yeah, I'm not gonna have week 1. It's
exactly. It's week 1. Football is back. I went 11-5, and Cole went 10-6. So what can we take out of week 1? I guess.
Okay, week 1. Don't be surprised about the second half. I'll tell you that right now. We've seen quite a few teams come back in the second half out of nowhere, where I thought the game was over. Browns, for example, they came back from what looked like a game that was impossible to come back from. Eagles down 17, they came back. Dolphins, they had an incredible second half against the Patriots. But overall, we learned what teams are really good to start off the season, what teams need some work to figure out to begin the season. So it'll be interesting to see what some of those teams fix their problems coming into week 2 here.
Yeah, the one big surprise game I thought was Minnesota and St. Louis. I really thought the Rams were going to win that, and Minnesota just comes out of nowhere and decides to take the game. Take the game right out of St. Louis's hands to start out.
Yeah, the Rams had some issues coming into the game, starting with Sean Hill getting hurt to start off, and then I believe quite 2 or 3 of their defense players got hurt in that game as well. So that kind of.
I hear Chris Long is going to have surgery.
Yeah, I believe he is getting surgery done, so that's going to hurt their defense big time in that. So be interesting to see what this Rams team can do for the rest of the season. I don't know if Sean Hill's supposed to be back, and I don't know who their third-string quarterback was when they entered the game.
I think it's Clemens. Dylan Clemens.
Still, I don't know if they had Clemens still or not, but. We want to see if these Rams can step up and possibly get a win this week.
Who knows? Now, to our week 2 picks. And this time we have a Thursday night game. Although last week was Thursday night, this is your regular Thursday night football, which will be on CBS and which I'll be able to get. Even though my parents dropped NFL Network. Why?
So you're too small, say that.
Because we want money. Still, why? I like football! Anyway, Baltimore, who's had some issues this week against the Steelers.
Yeah, I'm predicting a pretty good game here between these two. The Steelers, I thought they looked pretty good last week. I didn't expect them to look that good to start off the season. Brendan Roethlisberger had an excellent game last week. I believe he threw for 3 touchdowns and over.
That's why I started him, because he was against Cleveland, but I still lost, even though I had Julius Thomas and Megatron.
Yeah,
like I said before.
Still don't know how you lost.
Why?
Yeah, you don't know how you lost that still. Yeah, Pittsburgh offense looked pretty good to start off the season. Bell as well with a pretty good game. Thank you, Bell. I had him in my fantasy. And then you had the Pittsburgh defense, who I thought looked pretty good at first. And then at the end of the game against the Cleveland Browns in the second half, like I mentioned just a little bit ago, they kind of died down and let Cleveland come back in the game. Luckily, the Pittsburgh Steelers were able to pull it away at the final seconds to get the win. They need a Baltimore team who defense looked pretty good again as well last week, as they won against a very strong Cincinnati offense, and held them to 5 field goals and only 1 touchdown, which is the 1 touchdown, if you've seen it, was a very, very lucky touchdown by A.J. Greene, I believe, as he juggled it, but he had an awesome move at the end of the play, so I'll give him credit for it anyway. But in this one, I believe it's going to be a very close game, and I'm going to actually give the win to Pittsburgh on the road. I believe their offense is going to do a good job, and their defense as well is going to stop Joe Flacco. And with the Ravens having their issues with Ray Rice right now, I'll be able to give Pittsburgh the win here, 17-14.
Yeah, Baltimore is hurting right now. Obviously, the Ray Rice scenario, if you want to play in the NFL, don't punch your wife in the face.
Yeah, don't do anything stupid. Let's start off small. Don't do anything stupid. When you're making this, you stop everything and just sit on your couch and watch TV all day and work out. That's all you do.
Or if you're gonna flip the bird in front of Redskins fans, that's also not good.
Okay, only if you're Johnny Manziel, you can get away with that.
Who's seen the Snickers commercial for Johnny Manziel? Oh my god, that was hilarious.
That was good. I was kind of surprised he did a commercial like that.
But anyway, I guess my only comment on that for now is, if you want to play in the NFL, don't punch a woman in the face.
Yep, pretty much. That's the main concept of that one.
But anyway, back to the game here. Pittsburgh played well in the first half and kind of faltered in the second half, but it turns out it didn't matter. Pittsburgh won. I believe Pittsburgh will win this game as well. I think Baltimore's too hurt right now to be really winning ball games and whatnot because of this scenario.
Plus, from seeing last week as well, the running game is not so good without Bryce.
So I'm going to pick Pittsburgh to win this one. I picked it 28-24. Although, who knows? Defenses could be strong in this one.
That's what I'm going with. Also, a strong defense.
Let's go with Carolina against my Lions.
Yeah, the Detroit Lions on Monday night looked very, very impressive. The offense was clicking on all cylinders. Defense looked very well as well.
What Stafford?
Yeah, Stafford. He had an amazing game. I hadn't seen him play this good in I don't know how long. He did get a lot of new targets this year. Golden Tate, he was a great job on Monday night. He did a big add-on to the team. Calvin Johnson, like always. And Megatron, I tell you what, he had over 160 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns. You can't beat the guy. And that guy was mentioned, the Lions' defense, man. I did not see this guy coming from that defense at all in this game. I mean, I know they didn't go against Eli, and he's not the greatest player lately. But, man, they look pretty good.
They only gave up 13 points a game in preseason. Sure, it's preseason, but still.
Yeah, it's still good.
And everybody's saying, oh, their defense isn't that good. Well, they only gave up 14 points.
Yep, that is true. I mean,
hello, NFL scouts.
For 3/4 of the game, Calvin Johnson had more yards than the entire New York Giants offense, which, yeah, I mean, that's pretty impressive for a receiver. But then we go to Carolina, who last week didn't have their starting quarterback, Cam Newton, as he sat out with a rib injury. And they had Derek Anderson, which I didn't even know he was even around anymore, was a starting quarterback and led this Panther team to a win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But again, Carolina defense that is very strong. It's going to be a very interesting game between the Detroit Lions and the Carolina Panthers. This is kind of like the first look we get to see the Panther offense this year with Cam Newton now running the team. I do believe this is going to be another interesting game here, but I'm going to give it to the road team. I do believe Detroit just has a lot of power on that offense, and once again, I'm going to show it this week. I believe the defense is going to stop Newton because I got a feeling that he's going to be afraid to run the ball a little bit with his rib injury, and they're going to want him to stay in the pocket and throw, which he can do at times, but sometimes he's kind of iffy about it. But I'm going to give Detroit the win here, 31-17.
Carolina did have a great game without Cam Newton last week, but they really had Kelvin Benjamin.
Yeah, he had a great game, Benjamin. Yeah.
Kelvin Benjamin had a great catch for a touchdown last week, and of course, the only game we could see was San Francisco against Dallas because they're America's team.
For you did. I got every game on NFL Network. Got the Sunday ticket.
Well, there you go.
I had 8 screens just showing me every game at once.
There you go.
I know what I'm doing.
There you go.
Fishing up the parents.
I think I am going to pick Detroit again in this one, although Cam Newton is back, but he will need a week to really get things going. And I think that Detroit is going to take advantage of it and win 27-21, I think. Defenses will be a little bit less dramatic as they were last week because of the offenses. I had Carolina winning to start out, and then I thought, you know what? I'll change it. Same score, 27-21.
I will say something, though. If Detroit commits a lot of penalties in this game, I think Carolina could take it. But if they do not commit the penalties, I believe Detroit will take it no matter what. It's all a penalty game, I think, for Detroit.
Yes.
They kind of showed a little bit last week because they struggled with the penalties. But
Buffalo against Miami.
yeah, here's a good, very great Miami team last week. Looked like they started off with some struggles, having 3 turnovers against the New England Patriots in the first half. But the second half, man, that team.
That.
I like the first half. The second half was kind of scary for me. But Miami, they looked outstanding in the second half. They played very, very well football, and they pretty much just stopped this New England offense. It looked pretty unstoppable in the first half. And they allowed them to, I believe, under 50 yards in the second half. And scored, I believe it was 20 or 20-something points in the second half, straight points, and pretty much demolished the New England Patriots at the end of the game. Then again, on the other side of the ball, you have a Buffalo Bills team who also had a shocker last week because they beat the Chicago Bears, a team that a lot of us thought we were going to have a high-powered offense that was just going to run over this Buffalo team.
Yeah.
But EJ Manuel, I'll tell you what, I didn't see him doing that at all. Last year I thought he was a kind of all-right player. After this game, I see him as a pretty good player coming in this year. He played a really good game. He threw the ball very well. I believe he only had like 6 or 7 incomplete passes the entire game. And he led this Buffalo team to overtime and got the win over the Chicago Bears in overtime. So I believe it's going to be a very close matchup here between these two teams. But I'm going to give the game to Miami. I just believe Miami is just a little better team. And with Marino in the backfield after having his outstanding game last week, I just feel like he's going to lead this team once again this week. Taylor Hill is going to be a great addition to the team as well this week. And I believe Miami's going to take this one 21-17.
You're not going to believe who I picked in this one. Remember last year, Week 16? Remember when Miami was in the driver's seat in that AFC playoff circus?
Yep, do remember that.
Well, guess what? This Week 16 was their downfall. And I think this week will also be a downfall. Especially with the new owner coming to Buffalo, I believe.
It's been finalized, I believe.
I think Buffalo is going to rally around that and the win over Chicago. Of course, EJ Manuel looked great. Sammy Watkins looked good too. I think Buffalo is going to win this game 30-20. You might be surprised.
I know. I was actually thinking about picking Buffalo for a while. I was stuck between these two teams, but I just thought Miami. I just feel like they have a little more momentum being the Patriots, who is a team that ran the division for like the last 10 years. So I don't know. It's gonna be a good game though. That's all I'm gonna say. I will admit that.
Washington against Jacksonville.
Now here you got a Jacksonville team that I thought looked good at the first half. They looked very well. Chad Henne played an outstanding game to start off. And star wide receiver, I think it was Hearns. That's what it was. Hearns, guy I never heard of in my entire life, came out of nowhere, had 4 catches for 110 yards and 2 touchdowns, and led this team to a 17-0 lead at the halftime against a very good Philadelphia Eagles team. So after the second half, they kind of fell apart and lost 34-17. But once again, I don't think there was any turnovers by the entire Jacksonville Jaguar team in this process. Just they're going to hold back a good Philadelphia team. Then we head to Washington, where I still believe they're having struggles there, as really RG3 kind of trying to keep him in the pocket, which he can't do that. I just feel like he cannot stay in the pocket at all. And they're just kind of limiting this team to play as a pocket team when he can't. I feel like they're going to play as a pocket team. Just put Cousins in there.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I mean, I've heard people on ESPN saying it. They said if you're going to just do that, get rid of bench RG3, put Cousins in, because we all know he's a better pocket passer.
Mm-hmm.
But in this one, since RG3 is going to start again here, even though Washington is at home, I do believe the Jaguars are going to play another great game this week, and they're going to beat the Washington Redskins 24-10.
Cole, you're making me wanting to change picks all over, and I think I'm going to regret this.
I'm influencing. That's what I'm doing.
Jacksonville did look good last week, but their second half was awful. Washington didn't look that great last week, but they're at home. I'm going to pick Washington in a close one, 20-17. I do think Jacksonville has 6-10 written all over them, which for the Jags fans is really good.
I said playoffs. I think we're making playoffs.
That's possible.
I'm going for the upset team, the Jaguars.
That is possible. But for right now, I'm going to say Washington 20-17. Segment 2 of this show is coming up next.